Welcome to an edition of Gentle Somatic Yoga and other tools for balance. And we're going to balance our body, balance our thoughts, balance our feelings, just find balance. And so I'll be describing some themes involving balance as we're working through the variety of balances today. And balance is an overlooked part of a physical fitness routine, and it becomes increasingly important as we age. And I don't know if all of you know this, but I lost my balance and had a terrible accident in the past year where I smashed my face into bricks on a sidewalk because of an uneven surface. So this is a really practical class, something that probably we should really do every day. And I'm going to also recommend that you incorporate balance into your life, at least physical balance, as often as possible. Brushing your teeth, standing on one leg and then the other, actually getting into places with a different leg. So we always get into our car, right, with the same leg going up. So just stopping for a second and entering your car with the other leg first. If you notice, you always walk down a staircase or up a staircase, leading with the same foot. Try leading with the other foot. So there are a lot of little ways that you can incorporate these practices. And what we're doing is actually changing our brain and our nervous system when we do things opposite ways. So I might even suggest today, when you're interlacing your hands, look at what finger you always favor, put the other finger on top. So there are going to be a lot of little things like that throughout today's class. So let's just warm up our body and get things moving before we move into these series of different levels of balance. So raise arms up to the sky with an inhale and draw back down with an exhale. Raise arms in front of you with an inhale, slight leaning back. Draw arms down with an exhale. Draw arms behind you with an inhale. Swing them forward with an exhale. Draw arms back out to the side. Close your eyes briefly. Just feel already the balance that you have. Place arms down by your side. Hang them down, and let's check in. Let's check in with a complete focus on what feels balanced and what feels imbalanced in my body. So start with your feet. Notice if you are putting more weight on the outside of your feet or the inside. And then I might recommend you make a little micro adjustment. So I'm noticing I'm leaning on the outside of my feet. I'm going to try to put a little more weight on the inside of my feet, still with my eyes closed, sensing what that feels like. And then move your way up. So notice if you're balancing the amount of effort with the front of your leg and the back of your leg. Oftentimes this shows up in the knees, like either hyper-extending knees. If you're a hyper-extender, your knees are really pulled back. In that case, you might soften. If you feel too loose there, you might engage more. Then shifting up to quads and hamstrings. Do you sense your quads more than your hamstrings or vice versa? Can you try to even out or balance the weight? And then sense your hips. Does one hip feel higher than the other? Can you make a little shift, or is one back? Some people don't realize, but they have a slightly twisted back hip. So make micro adjustments again. Then sense the length of your arms. Sometimes the length of your arms may indicate the way you're holding your upper body if you're leaning toward one side or the other. This is a cool thing to do also with your eyes open in front of a mirror. You could try that at some point. And then continue the journey upward. Do you feel stacked? Are your knees over your feet? Are your hips over your knees? Are your shoulders over your hips? Where is your head in space? Is it jutted forward? Is it leaning back? Make micro adjustments to see what happens when you get yourself completely in balance. And then sense, where are you feeling more effort? I can tell you, I'm feeling more effort on my left side when I'm trying to balance. These are just pieces of information that are very helpful for you. And then split your body left and right just for a second. Like as if you had a butter knife and you're going straight up the middle. What is different about the left and right side? Let's split our body one more time, front and back. What is different between front and back of the body? And lastly, let's split our body into upper body and lower body. What is different between upper body and lower body? Now you can keep your eyes closed or open them at any time, focusing for a moment on our breath, seeing if you can balance the breath between the inhale and the exhale. Same length of inhale as exhale. Seeing if you can breathe in and out of the nose. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And again, you can do this completely with your eyes open in front of a mirror as well. That would be helpful. So let's just loosen things up for a minute. This is already starting to work on balance by lifting one foot up and circling it, and then lifting the other foot up and circling it, both directions. And then go back to the first foot, flexing and pointing, flexing and pointing. And the other foot, flexing and pointing, flexing and pointing. And then we'll start to experiment with putting our leg in different places. Start with the heel on top of the foot. This is sort of like a mini tree pose. And then lift your arms up, bend the knees, bring the arms down. Lift the arms up, bring the knees and come down. Let's do that on the other side. So landing with a foot, it's a little more challenging on this side. On the top of the other foot, lift it up, bend the knees as you come slightly down. Lift it up. Notice the ankle shaking. The ankle is supposed to shake. That's how it's adjusting. That's how it's signaling to your nervous system to get into balance. All right, let's go ahead and release that. Widen your legs for a minute and just bend and straighten the knees a few times. Take a cleansing breath. Let's just flap our wings a little bit. Flap the wings. And then flap them this way. How do birds stay so balanced? How do they? And then try to do a balance while you're flapping your wings. It doesn't matter where you put your legs. Flap the wings. And then let's do the other side. Flap the wings. Whew, gosh, it's interesting. You think you have a dominant side. And for me, I'm right-handed, but my balance is actually better on my left side. So those are kind of interesting things to note about yourself. Go ahead and widen your knees, and you can either go all the way down or just halfway down.
If you want to be leaning on something, I just feel like loosening up here. Oh, just breathe. Shake things out. Balance. What does balance feel like in your body? When do you feel centered, grounded? Starting at roots up. Come halfway up, bend the knees with the knees bent, lengthening the spine. Staying here for a minute. Not quite a minute, just a few breaths, and then standing all the way up and shaking it out. So moving more into a couple of different types of balance, we'll work on a variety of tree poses. Let's actually do 3 versions of tree back and forth. So version 1 would be just with the foot on the calf. And again, you can do anything with your arms. You can go cactus arms, you can go full up arms. Breathing. If you want to make it more challenging, you would look up to the sky. If you need help, you would look down or have a hand on something and breathe. Okay, let's do that version of tree on the other side. As you're doing these things, I do want you to pay attention. What do you feel? What's different? What side feels stronger, more secure? Which kind of balance do you prefer? Do you like an open leg balance like this? Or leg in front or leg in back? All right, go ahead and release that. So the second version of tree I'd like for you to try is, it's kind of a modified tree. You bend the supportive leg and then cross the other one. It's almost like you're doing a number 4. This is, I know it has a different name, but I'm calling it a version of tree today. Maybe half lotus, half lotus balance. Breathe here. So notice how this balance might feel differently, how it's activating different muscles. Notice what's going on. Let's go ahead and release that one. You might need to shake out. And then let's go into the other side. Whoa. So very different when I do this version. I am definitely shakier. Good. It's all information, guys, not criticism, just information. And it usually points to imbalances in our muscles most of the time from things that we've done over time that may have injured ourselves. Now, the next one is one that not everybody wants to do, because I'm going to put my foot way up here, and that may not be appropriate for you. So you decide, and in this case, you might want to have something to lean on first or support yourself first before you get rid of the support. So I'm going to get my foot way up here. Ooh, this is very challenging. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. Yeah. I have not put my foot up here in a long, long time. Okay, maybe for a little bit. Kind of painful. So this may not be appropriate if it doesn't feel good. All right. Try the other side. So it's just good to do these once in a while, just to see what's going on with your body and what your body still likes to do. Now, it's interesting. On this side, it feels completely different. Much more comfortable. And if you don't have a lot of turnout in your legs, this can be a very challenging pose, because it does require the hip to turn out a great deal. Okay, and go ahead and release that. You might need to rub your legs down. So just close your eyes for a minute and let's check in with how these balances
felt in our body. All right. So when we were doing the tree balance, this is an incredibly grounding pose. So if you need grounding, you would visualize the supportive foot growing roots into the ground. You could even do things like sway and visualize kind of the wind blowing or storms, and that you are centered enough and rooted enough to be able to still stay standing and still be flexible. All right. So the next balance we're going to try, we're going to work into is hand to foot, even though I don't really do a version of hand to foot anymore. I'm going to do a modified version. So it's going to be leg in front. Once again, you might want something next to you. And I'm going to just start by having my hands under my knee and seeing if I can hold myself up straight and tall. All right, I'm putting that one down and then going to the other side. And just noticing already differences. So when I lifted up my left leg, I could feel different muscles, feeling a little bit of discomfort here. This is not as natural, doesn't feel as good as the other side, like on the outside. So a balance class like this is a great diagnostic class for you to notice where your imbalances are in your body, like what's going on, if it's a hip or something like that. If you have a strap, this is where a strap could be really useful. And you can have it completely unhooked and just have the strap centered so that you have an equal amount on either side of it. And then hook it around your foot. So now the strap, and I'm going to grab it with my hands. I'm going to start with my hand on something and then draw the leg out and engage the core and see if I can lift up, feeling nice and strong and tall. And notice what muscles I'm having to engage. Whew. That is a lot of work for these thigh muscles. Balancing is really strength training too. It's, in my opinion, a safer way to strength train than using weights. Every time I try to use weights, I end up injuring myself. And so doing balances can help you if traditional weight training doesn't work for you. It's a great way to strengthen muscles. Breathe. See if you can keep the upper body relatively soft and really use the core down to the lower body on this one. Okay. Now, in between these, you still might want to notice what muscles might need a little bit of love, a little rub down, and maybe even shifting the hips around a little bit. If you got any sort of tension sensation down here as you were working muscles. Now, one of the ultimate balances is dancer pose. It demands a great deal of balance. It's you really have to dig deep to get into dancer's pose. Now, for some of you, the strap might still be useful for dancer's pose. We're going to prep into it, though, in the gentle somatic yoga way, not go directly into it. But you can have your strap nearby if you think it'll be helpful. And dancer's pose is another pose that a hand on the wall, hand on the chair to start off with might be really useful. Couple things to watch out in dancer's pose is how this is affecting the shoulder. So if you can reach for your foot, notice if it feels more comfortable like this or more comfortable reaching from the inside of the foot. So that's, one of the first things to notice. Interestingly enough, it feels more comfortable these days with my hand on the outside of the foot. It used to feel more comfortable with my hand on the inside. So that's step one to dancer's pose. Try that on both sides. And if you're using the strap, your strap is going around your ankle and going from there. The nice thing about dancer's pose, it's one of the few poses that really does lengthen our quad. We're often lengthening our hamstrings in yoga and not that much our quads. Okay. So the next step would be to see if you can slightly lift that leg. Now, when lifting the leg, one of the things I see people do, which can cause some sciatica, I often see people do something like that. Their whole hip goes up. What I suggest is you try keeping the hips as relatively stable as possible, and then maybe you're adding the other arm in. So this is sort of level 2, if you feel like it today. And then doing the other side. It's great to have whatever you're using as support, if needed, on the opposite side of the leg that you're lifting. So on the side of the leg that you're actually having support of. And then once again, being aware of keeping even hips. This hip tends to want to lift a little more than the other one. Now, the third stage, if you wanted to do it, is to tilt your body forward. The upper body goes forward as the back leg comes up. And I'm not so sure, maybe a little bit I can go. So, now see, the minute I do that, I'm losing my balance. So interesting how that changes your balance when you lean forward. Okay, and then doing the other side. So in general, you would not be doing all these balances in one day, but it's nice to have kind of a starting point. So let's say we've checked out all the balances today, and then you make a commitment every day to do a different balance. So one day might be tree, one day might be the leg in the front, one day might be dancer's pose. And that way you're balancing the balance, right? So that you make sure that you are working all different types of balance. And it's like the more we practice different styles of something, the more we have tools in our toolbox should something happen. Because maybe you're going to lean back some point, or maybe you're going to lean forward. Maybe you're going to have things in your arms. And this idea of really strengthening all ways of balance can be really helpful. Okay. The last little standing balance series is in some ways, in my view, the most challenging. And let's do some prep for this. So let's lean back on your heels and bring your toes up. Come forward and bring your heels up. So rock back and forth. And then I'm going to ask you, this is what makes all the rest of this so challenging. Try this with your eyes closed. Now, this is where if you are not feeling incredibly balanced, where you might want to have something nearby in case you feel like you're going to fall. So this is now working more with internal sense of balance. The minute you start closing your eyes, you are working completely without your visual cues. And that makes balance so much more challenging. Okay, we'll do the same thing now as if you are on a balance beam. I want your feet to be right in line with each other. if you can, the heel of the front foot is slightly touching the toes of the back foot. And then once again, if you can, try to close your eyes. Whoa, and see what happens. Very, very challenging. You're going to have to probably use your arms, be careful, and probably you're falling off your balance beam. So now try the other foot in front. This will let you know how much you use your eyes to help you with balance. One of the reasons why people trip so often in the dark, right? They can't use their eyes quite as much for balance. Breathe. Any practice of this is good practice. Okay, go ahead and shake that out. Let's go ahead and relax a little bit. Widen our legs, go into either a half forward fold or a full forward fold. Soften everything, head, neck, and shoulders. Do some cleansing breaths, shake everything out. Ah, ah. All right, and then find your way onto hands and knees. You might want something on your mat. We'll do one more hands and knees kind of balance, and then we'll start working balance in a less physical way. So find whatever you need to keep your knees and wrists safe. Some people find making fists is better on their wrists, and other people like to just make sure that the weight, if their hands are flat, they keep the weight in the thumb and the pointer to take the weight off of the outside of the wrist, because that's where people tend to lean on. Okay, so we'll do a little series here. So you'll draw your knee in, put your knee down, draw your knee out to the side, fire hydrant style, put your knee down, draw your knee back with bent knee, straighten leg, and if you want to add the other arm, make sure that you are putting equal effort throughout the core and not over taxing this part of the spine, the lower part of the spine. And then you can lift if you want. Bring that knee down, shift back into some sort of child's pose or puppy pose, and take a rest. Coming back up to all four. Your other knee comes in first, comes back to neutral, goes out to the side in a fire hydrant style, back to neutral, goes to the back with a bent knee. Now straighten the leg, square off your hips, add the opposite arm in, breathe, and draw everything in. Shift back either to puppy pose where the butt's in the air. That's safer for people with osteoporosis, or child's pose. And breathe. All right. So come into a seated pose and we'll set up for our mudra practice today. Any comfortable seated pose. For a moment, close your eyes and check in and see how you're feeling.
Hmm. 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 So let's do the Divamukha Mudra. The Divamukha Mudra is actually the gesture of two faces. It facilitates deep relaxation. And to me, this seems very balancing, kind of recognizing the two sides of everything. So the hand position is quite simple. Pinky touches pinky, fourth finger touches fourth finger. The other fingers are just kind of open. The hands are facing upward, and you lean this down on your lap somewhere and make sure that you soften your shoulders. If you feel comfortable to do so, go ahead and close your eyes. So Divamukham means two faces and refers to the two sets of fingers that are touching each other. Symbolically, Divamukham refers to our own two faces, our limited personality and our limitless true being. In order to relax deeply and completely, we need to release, at least temporarily, concerns and worries at the level of personality. This is often challenging because the mind is scanning the environment constantly for threats and opportunities. But through cultivating relaxation consciously and taking the time to relax regularly, we gradually release the constant vigilance, allowing restoration to become an essential facet of our daily activities. As we learn to relax more deeply, we gradually attune to our essential being that is inherently at ease. This allows us to experience deep relaxation. Your guided meditation, Waves of Tranquility. As you hold the Divamukha Mudra, take several natural breaths. Attune to all the feelings and the sensations evoked by the gesture. Notice how your breath is being directed into the pelvis and the lower abdomen. It's becoming slower and more serene. This allows you to relax more completely. To relax even more deeply, visualize yourself near a tranquil, warm, turquoise blue sea. There are gentle waves flowing softly near your feet. It's creating a soothing sound reflected in your rhythmic breathing. These warm, gentle waves of relaxation and ease are flowing up from the sea to each area of your body individually. Let's begin with the lower extremities. With your next inhale, sense the soft turquoise blue waves of relaxation and ease bathing your feet and legs. And as you exhale, allow the tension from these areas to be naturally released. Take several breaths. Experience the complete comfort of the soft, tranquil sea bathing your lower extremities. With the next inhale, the warm turquoise blue waves of relaxation now bathe your pelvis, your abdomen, the low and the mid back. As you exhale, all tension from these areas are being released. They're going down and out through the soles of your feet. Take several breaths to rest in the growing relaxation and ease that is now encompassing your entire lower body.
The soft, warm, turquoise blue waves of relaxation and ease are now flowing gently upward with your inhaling breath, bathing your chest and your upper back. As you exhale, the current of release is carrying all tension from these areas down and out your body. Take several breaths to sense the comfort of your soft, tranquil sea, bathing your body from the chest down to the soles of your feet. With the next inhale, the soft undulations flow through your shoulders, down your arms and into the hands, all the way to the fingertips. As you exhale, all tension is released from your shoulders, the arms, and the hands. For your next few cycles of breath, sense the entire area from your shoulders all the way to the feet, completely bathed in soft, warm, turquoise waves of tranquility. Now, as you rest in the comfort of your soft, tranquil sea, sense your neck, your head, and all of your senses relax. Allow your forehead, the ears, the eyes, the jaw, and the mouth to become calm and serene. With your entire body more relaxed and at ease, take several breaths to allow your mind to rest completely within your soft, warm sea of tranquility. Affirm the absolute relaxation by repeating the following 3 times, aloud or silently. Bathed in gentle waves of comfort and ease, my entire being relaxes completely. Bathed in gentle waves of comfort and ease, my entire being relaxes completely. Bathed in gentle waves of comfort and ease, my entire being relaxes completely. Slowly release the gesture. Take several breaths to sense the rest that you now feel as you are laying next to the tranquil sea of serenity. Gently blinking eyes open and allowing the rest of your activities throughout the day to have this balance of the sea of tranquility as you are doing your activities. All right. So we're going to set up to do the rest of our routine on our backs. So you might want to lay a blanket across your mat in order to be able to slide a little bit more. So we're going to do tree pose on the ground now. And this is a great series to, balance inner and outer work. And sense the shoulders and the hips and really all parts of the body. So start with your knees bent just briefly and situate yourself in a way that feels balanced on the ground. Let your arms rest comfortably, palms up or down, you decide. And just allow the legs to drop gently to the left side. Now with the legs dropping gently to the left side, draw the right arm up above the head on the ground, sliding it up slowly, getting full length, possibly allowing the head to turn toward the right. And then draw everything back to the middle, to the starting point. Drop your knees off to the right, slide the left arm gently up the blanket above the head, maybe allowing the head to slightly turn to the right, left, sorry, and then come all the way back to neutral. Now lengthen both legs on the ground. Engage the muscles of the left leg as if you were doing your tree pose. Soften the right leg, slide up on the outside of the foot into a tree pose. Allow both arms to execute tree pose. Draw the knee up to the sky, flatten the foot. Bring the arms underneath the kneecap. Draw the leg as close into the chest as possible. Lift and lower just the bottom part of the leg, maintaining a closeness with the leg to the chest. And then stretch the arms out, draw the knee in. So when you're stretching the arms out, it's pulling the leg slightly away from you, drawing the knee in. Now reach your hands toward the calf, lift the leg, and flex and point the toes a few times. Place the foot back on the ground. Allow the knee to cross your midline. You're now on the inside of the foot. You can allow the right arm to stretch out to the side, palm up, and then put the palm down, palm up, palm down, palm back up. Slide your foot back to neutral on the inside of the foot. Leg returns back to the starting point. Shake things out. Engage the muscles of the right leg slightly as if you're standing on it. Allow the left leg to form a tree pose. The arms can gently go above the head. On the ground, though. Draw the knee to the sky and flatten the foot. Reach under the kneecap. Draw the thigh as close to the body as possible without pain. Just lift and lower the bottom of the leg a few times, keeping the top of the leg relatively stable. Now stretch this arm out, drawing the leg away from you, engaging muscles. Loosen by bringing it back. Drawing the leg slightly away with the arm stretch, using the arms to bring the leg back. Last time. Sliding the hands toward the calf, lift the leg up, point and flex the toes. Bring the foot back down to the earth. Allow the knee to cross the midline. Your whole left side might lift a little bit from the floor. Slide the foot back on the inside of the foot all the way to neutral. Oh, I just got a foot cramp. Interesting. Maybe pedal the feet or do whatever you need to do. Shake things out. Gently turn your head side to side without lifting your head off the ground. Now we didn't do any seated or standing twists, so we'll do our upper body twists from a lying down position. So bend both knees up, put them at a comfortable distance away from each other.
Draw the hands directly up to the sky. The fingers are pointed towards your ceiling. We're going to do something that looks a little bit like making a bow and arrow. But so first allow the right hand to drop to the ground, out to the side, about shoulder height. Then allow your upper body to twist over to the right gently. And your left hand is sort of reaching for the right. It's not going to reach it. And then imagine you're drawing a bow back. Draw the bow back all the way across your body to the other side. And then put your arms back up in the sky again, directly in front of you. Allow the left arm to drop down to the floor, shoulder height. And then the right arm goes like it's reaching for it. And when it gets close, it draws a bow back all the way and then opens up to the side. And then we can just land on our side momentarily. Stack the arms on top of each other, stack the knees. You might need something under the head. So grab whatever you need. And then draw the elbow back again like the bow and arrow, opening it up, releasing it to the ground. Each time maybe going a little further. I think the pillow is too much for this. You might just want, if you have something nearby, like a rolled blanket. But we're going all the way into an open twist. Knees stay to the side. Your upper body is opening. Breathe here. Turn the hands to face the ground. Turn them to face the ceiling. Face the ground and the ceiling. Come back to the side and stretch your leg out in front of you just briefly. Lift the knee up, the whole leg up. Draw the leg completely back towards the back of your body. Come down, soften the knee, and lay on your back just momentarily, shifting hips side to side, neutralizing, maybe with a few rocking back and forth of the pelvis, like a rocking chair. And then you'll lie on your other side. Bending the knees, stacking them, stacking your arms initially, drawing the top arm back across the body, opening into a twist and coming back. Second time, you can leave it there into a twist, situate your head in a way that feels comfortable to you. Turn the palms down, turn them up, turn them down, and turn them up. And then stretch. Oh, you have to come back to the side. So you're on your side completely. Stretch the top leg in front of you so it's toward me. Lift up the leg, draw the leg completely back behind you. Bring it down, soften all the muscles, and come onto your backs and draw knees into chest. And cross the ankles, circle one direction. Keep the same cross as you change the direction. Change the cross of the ankles, go back to the first direction.
And then go the other way. And since we didn't do a lot of chest openers, maybe resting in a mountain brook pose would be really nice, where you get a chest opener. So if you have supplies similar to what I have, 2 blocks and some sort of firmer cushion, you would create a ledge. My ledge is going to be block on the lowest level, block on the second level, and there's my ledge. The one thing you might need, because your butt is going to be on the ground, this may be too much of a leap to go from there with your back, your low back. You might have to create like something to make the ledge reach the ground a little bit more, with like a rolled towel or a rolled blanket. And then you would lie yourself down on your ledge with a nice big chest opener and decide where you want your legs. You might want them bent. Some people like cobbler's pose here. Some people like to stretch their legs completely out. So figure out, make this comfortable. This is a restorative pose. You should be feeling no tension at all in this pose. So use your props in a way to make this pose work for your body. And in the meantime, I am going to, rather than do a reading, I'm going to pose some balance questions to you as you are laying here. So balance can become challenging in so many different ways. For instance, after a long, hard day, you might find it hard to focus. You're all over the place, physically, mentally, emotionally, easily distracted. But you can always use your breath to find a sense of balance. So start using your breath now. Determine what breath practice is the most balancing for you. It might be a 3-part yogic breath, where you fill the belly, the lower ribs, and then the upper ribs on the inhale, and then release the opposite way. That might be the breath that works. It could also be alternate nostril breathing, where you breathe in through one nostril and out the other, and then breathe in through that nostril and out the other. So that's a breath that a lot of people find balancing. Some people like Ujjayi breath, which is known as the regulated breath, where you kind of constrict the back of your throat and you make an ocean sound. So that's another one. Other people like a heart focus, even breath. That can be very balancing. So as you're lying here, figure out which breath works for you as I ask you a few reflective questions. So how is your balance when it comes to considering healthy eating and indulging in treats? How about family and friends? How is your balance when it comes to time you help others and time for yourself? How is your balance when it comes to active times and times of stillness?
How about in giving and receiving love? Being available and creating boundaries. How about the things you have to do versus the things you enjoy? How is the balance there? Being sociable and being alone. How is your balance? Pushing yourself and enjoying the ride. So what things help you maintain your balance? Increase body awareness, mindfulness, roots, finding ways to stay grounded or get regrounded, having stamina and determination, getting the right support, and probably the most important thing, practice, 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 practice. All right, so take your time coming back to a seated pose from your restful pose, gathering any parts of this practice that were helpful to you, any parts that stick with you that you can continue to practice to stay in balance, get rebalanced when you get out of balance, pick yourself up when you fall. It's been a pleasure working with you today. Namaste.